what's up, gun nuts? It's Ferrari Steve with RealGunReviews.com. This is video number 4 in my series showing upgrading a West German P226 from stock condition to as close to 226 Legion specs as you can get. And we've already replaced some springs, we've replaced the grips, and now it's time to update the sights. So let's take a look at the sights on the SIG Legion. And I have safety checked these, but it's never a bad idea to safety check the guns on camera just to show its good form. So the sights on the SIG, on the Legion, are what they call SIG X-ray sights. They've got this bright dot up front and these blacked out night sights in the back. And if you look really close, it says TGH3. In fact, the TGH3 is made by TrueGlow. If you look up TGH3 online, it's a TrueGlow fiber optic sight. These aren't fiber optic, they're tritium, but it still says TG. And I have it on good authority that TrueGlow does make SIG's X-ray sights, at least for this model. It's not the first time TrueGlow has worked with SIG. TrueGlow made the sights for the 226 Blackwater, the fiber optic front sights, the red ones when they had the red-green contrasting sights on the Blackwater. And they also make them for the SIG Legion. So let's pull out these Trijicon HDs. Now you can buy the SIG X-ray sights direct from SIG if you want. So if you want to go exact match on the Legion, you can. You can save a little bit of money by going with the Trijicon HDs. I run these Trijicon HDs on a lot of my SIGs. I've got them on my 220, and I really, really like them. So let's take them out and compare what they look like. You'll notice, boy, they look a lot like the X-ray sights. So here we go. This is the yellow one versus the green one. They look really similar, don't they? Yeah, I think TrueGlow maybe saw these Trijicons and went, those are pretty cool. Let's try that out. Now again, you can't get the same color, but I like the yellow, so that's why I went with that. You can, though, buy the X-rays. And these rear sights, again, they look really similar. These have a curved notch, whereas the SIG ones are squared. But otherwise, they're going to sit in the gun a little higher like that. But very, very similar styles to the SIG. So if you, or to the X-ray, right? Both guns are SIG, but these are Trijicon sights. So to install these yourself, it's not that rough as long as you have the right tools. Now, a gunsmith or a local gun shop probably isn't going to charge you a lot to put them in and sight them in. So if you're not familiar with changing out the sights, right? Because the stock sights on a 226 are the von Staubenhagen sights. This one happens to have a night sight front. But if you aren't familiar with changing out SIG sights, yeah, you may want to let somebody else do it for you. Or if you've got a buddy who has this, which is the MGW 307 SIG sight adjustment tool, this makes installing, removing, and adjusting sights super easy. And then I like to use a sight marked bore sight here for the initial sighting in while I've got the tool handy. And then, obviously, the only way to make sure it's really sighted in is to put it on a bench and do that. So I'm not going to go through on video taking the sights off. There are plenty of videos out there. I think I've even done some showing how to change out sights. So I'm going to stop the video here. I'm going to replace these sights, and then I'll come back and show you how they look on the original 226. Again, if you've got one of these, here we go, put the branding side out. This makes changing out your sights and adjusting them so much easier. And this works on pretty much any of the SIG P-series pistols. It says it won't work on SIG Pro, won't work on polymer frame pistols, but if any of the P22 whatever pistols, this is a really good tool to have, especially if you have a bunch, and if you like changing out sights, you'll pay for this probably the first 2-3 times you use it. And if you got buddies, you can make them happy. All right, going to pause here. I'll put these sights on, say goodbye to these original sights, and we'll see you in a minute. So I changed my mind. I figure I wouldn't make you watch the tedious part of setting this all up and putting it in, but I'll just show you how easy it is to remove these. And you can remove the front sights from either side. And look, all I do is twist this. I'm not exerting any pressure. And you notice the front side is just sliding out. This is super easy, right? I'm not putting that much pressure at all. I just sit here and slowly spin. And eventually, it'll come right out of my hands. Oops, there we go. The stock front sight is out and in pretty decent condition. So much so that if I wanted to put it back in, I probably could, although it's a night sight and I don't think it's glowing anymore. So we'll put it aside, and I'll stop the video and show you how to take the rear sights off too. Again, this just loosens and you move it into position, which is too boring to do on camera. So changed my mind again and realized, why am I going to go through taking them off take off the rear ones when I should put the front ones on first, because that's kind of the side I'm on. So this is the front of the tool, and I just manually slid these the sights in nice and smooth. And while it's out, you can kind of clean this out, but it was pretty clean and it's already pre-lubed, so I'm not going to wipe any of that out. Just kind of slide it in until it gives a little resistance. Don't push it. And then slide it back into this lock position and line it up. And you want to line it up so that the center of the tool, the mass of it is covering all of the front sight, and then tighten this down. And in tightening this down, because it fits into the rails, tightening that down is going to help you align it. Now you always want to install from this side. You can remove the sight to either side, but for some reason, everybody says you want to install the sights from the left side of the gun or away from this. And now we can kind of use this, just slide, nice and easy. As it goes, it should bite down and settle in. Look at that. Now, you'll notice it's got a, I like to take it a little far in and then back it out. And there's an alignment line right here. So when this is lined up even, this line and this line, evenly on both sides of the sight, that's about where the center is. And I'll take it out here, slide it forward, and you can also just visually inspect to see you want about the same amount of distance on here. And it looks like I've got a little more on this side, so I'm going to slide it back just a smidge right there. I'm going to move it back that way, just a touch. And again, you may have to tinker with this to kind of get it right, but once you've done it a few times, you'll get it. And there you go. Front sight's installed with no hammering, and you know what? I still need a little farther in. So I'm going to do these final adjustments off camera, but when I'm done, I'll come and show you how to take the rear sight off. Okay, we're back, and I've got the slide flipped around. The tool always says front on the front, obviously. That doesn't mean front of the gun, it means front of the tool. So you have to flip it around and get it in here to line up. And again, you can remove the rear sights from any side, but if you're swapping them out, I like to remove it towards the side I'm going to install from. And rear sights always install from the side with the wheel. So, and one thing I like to do is if I'm doing exact same sights or sights where the width is identical, and these are, I look right down there and the width is identical, I like to, just for a sanity check, look and see where the lines are. So as I touch the edge here, this alignment line is lined up with this far right notch, or far left if you're looking at it from the front, but I'm doing this upside down because I'm right-handed. And so I know that as I put it back in, I'm going to go to where this edge roughly lines up with that, just as a starting point. Again, I'm going to have to use my laser sight and actually fire the gun with this at the range to kind of adjust the sights for, you know, perfection. But that's kind of a good place to start. So again, removing them, you know, I'm not really cranking the wheel here. I'm not huffing and puffing. Just slowly turn the wheel, and it pushes the sight out of the side. Again, don't rush. And some old school guys are like, nah, the only way to remove sights from a SIG is, you know, eventually when you're near the end, just one finger will do it, and it just drops right out. And when it drops right out, I mean, again, those are in decent shape. I'm going to keep those. When it drops right out, that's a good time to know you can line up these rear ones. So I'm going to release the slide. It looks nice and clean. I'm going to just slide it in there gently, just to get it lined up. Okay. Make room for it with the tool until it slides in. And there we go. Tighten it down again. And let's start putting it back in. And again, I don't need to torque it, don't need to crank it. That's the beauty of this tool. Just be patient. Crank it in. All right, once it starts, I mean, you can visually line up, right? You've got some, you know, focus on this, on the circle here where the hammer hits. And you kind of want to visually center things up. And every now and again, sanity check, back it off and say, okay, am I lined up? Well, I'm pretty close to lined up to where we were before. In fact, I might be a little past it. And you can visually look in there and see, you know, what's the distance, what's the size of the gap on each edge of it, and boy, that looks pretty close. That looks pretty close to centered and lined up, and you know, you can visually look and see if you can line up the sights. And again, the only way to really tell for sure that you're in the right spot. So we'll call this good for now because I'm going to have to tinker anyway. And there we go. You know, you get your bore sight and put everything back together, but that right there, that's brand new Trijicon HT sights, and we are one step closer. Look at that, to Sig Sauer 226 Legion specs. Not bad. These are really great sights, a good deal. And again, you want to focus on that front sight, so having a nice big bright dot up front there. If you're not a purist, and again, we already have a collectible 226 right here that we're going to keep bone stock, but this one we're going to turn into a monster. So we're now one step closer by putting these sights. I won't bother putting everything back together because I'm going to stay here and tinker and get it as close as I can. But that's Ferrari Steve. Thanks for watching. This is Ferrari Steve. Thanks for watching. That's how you put the sights on a Sig Sauer P226. Use the sight tool, or just take it to a gunsmith and have them do it. Or if you live close to me, come on over. We'll hang out. Buy me a cherry Coke and I'll put them on for you. Anyway, have fun. Stay safe out there. Come watch the next video for the next step when we're going to start talking about guide rods. Have fun.